Today, I'm joined by Jason Marves, CEO of Quadrise PLC. Quadrise is an innovator and global supplier of emulsion technology that produces a synthetic enhanced fuel oil called MSAR and a new biofuel called bioMSAR. The technology provides lower cost and cleaner energy solutions for the marine, power and industrial sector, providing an accelerated transition to a lower carbon future. Jason, welcome.
Hi, Harry.
So Quadrise recently announced the signing of the collaboration and operational trial agreement with MSC, Ship Management and Cargill. How significant a step in the company's journey is this signing, and what are the benefits of working with partners such as these?
Yeah, I mean, for Quadrise, this is an exceedingly important next step in our journey in terms of we're a tech transition technology company. Previously tested our main fuel, MSAR, on a large container ship, which is very successful. And this really provides the first opportunity with a major client, which is MSC, to demonstrate both our MSAR fuel as a proof of concept, and then essentially, first of a kind, demonstrate a brand new biofuel called bioMSAR, which is really champions our technology, which is able to blend oil-soluble materials with water-soluble materials. In the case of this project, we're partnering up with Cargill, who's a collaborating partner in this particular agreement, and they're supplying the glycerin, and then they're helping us supply the fuel to the ship as well. So, in terms of the partners we're dealing with, they're two hugely significant entities. MSC is now the world's largest container shipping company. In the last 4 years, they bought another 400 vessels, second-hand vessels, to really extend their fleet, which is an amazing expansion of growth, huge investment. And they're investing not only in buying ships, but they're also upgrading them to make them extremely efficient. And this is really, we see ourselves as part of that fit with really using existing assets and making them more efficient. And in the case of Cargill, huge supplier of biofuels. They've got one of the largest biofuel manufacturing facilities in Ghent, in Antwerp. And really, we're taking the opportunity to work with them for the first time, obviously with a view for the future.
So you touched on it a little bit, because you possibly specify in a bit more clarity some of the individual role of each entity within the project agreement.
Yeah, so MSC assisting us in terms of getting the vessel ready. So this is a 50,000 ton, deadweight ton container ship. It's a feeder vessel. It's got a very large sort of flex engine on there. So they're supplying this commercial vessel, deploying it on a route which should be agreeable to where we're going to be located in Antwerp. And then basically they're going to be operating the vessel. They're also hugely helpful in dialogue with the engine manufacturers and also class societies. So as we commercialise our fuels, it's extremely important to collaborate with a partner like MSC that can make things happen. And in the case of Cargill, really, they're the supply partner potentially for biofuel, for a bioMSAR in the future as well. Certainly from Antwerp, where they're extremely well located. So again, you've got two very large entities, who've got many things to do, right? And don't have to collaborate with Quadrise, but they see that we have something that's unique, and it's an extremely important opportunity for us.
So you mentioned, going back slightly earlier in the year to the agreement with Cargill and MAC 2 facility in Antwerp, what are the initial next steps to get the installation of Quadrise's technology into the Antwerp facility, the MAC 2 facility in Antwerp, and when do you expect this to be completed?
Yeah, good question. I mean, given the MAC 2 agreement that was announced, I think, back in February of this year, for us was important as precursor to signing the 3 with MSC, because we needed to demonstrate that we had somewhere to actually physically make the fuel. And MAC 2 were very kind to offer a location. They basically prepared the permit to operate as well, so they've already invested in that in terms of time, and they've also concreted the site, so the site is actually ready for us to go. Previously it was a grassy area, and now we have a nice flat platform to put our equipment in. From our perspective, in advance of signing the agreement with MSC, we'd already invested in some of the important long lead items, which could have delayed the project. And the next steps now are essentially containerising the parts that are not already containerised, delivering our equipment to site, plugging it all together, testing it and make sure it works, and then we should be off up and running. Timing wise, we expect to be really on site probably the early part of Q1. The end of this year was just preparing the equipment to get it shipped out there, and then Q1 will be very much an integration exercise with the team on site to pull it all together, and working with obviously the MAC2 team on the terminal. So there should be lots of stage-wise news to keep shareholders up to date with in terms of progress as well.
Perfect. And then next step after that is obviously then the trial. When do you expect the trials to actually begin? Follow it after, like how quickly after the installation of the equipment do you expect it to begin? What does the trial actually consist of, and what is it that determines it to be a success?
Yeah, very good question. So in terms of what does the trial consist of? When's it going to start? First of all, the expectation is that towards the end of Q1 we should be ready to supply fuel to the vessel. The vessel depends a little bit on when the vessel is next going to be calling in Antwerp or that region, because normally it's on the transatlantic route. The routes get to be finalised, but currently on the transatlantic routes, which means it only comes in every sort of 4 to 6 weeks into that particular location. So the exact timing will obviously be vessel governed. We also, with Cargill, need to charter the barge that's going to be used from the terminal in Antwerp. It's going to be used to supply the fuel ship. And then in terms of what that entails, it entails us basically loading the barge with 1,000 or 1,500 tons worth of fuel, transferring that bunker barge to the ship, and then to ship transfer, load the fuel on board the vessel, and then it goes off on its merry way. It's a journey around the world. So the plan is the first test will be a proof of concept with MSAR. The vessel's previously run on MSAR before, but it's been MSC have spent money on it and improved it since it was last run. So we need to get a baseline run with MSAR to compare with the past and also compare with fuel oil. And then after that test, then we load another batch with bioMSAR for the first time. Then the fuel will be used on the ship. Again, make sure everything's okay in terms of emissions and initial performance. And then after that, it's basically we need to generate hours of experience. Generally to get a letter of no objection from the OEM, which in this case is Wärtsilä, that would normally take 4,000 hours in total. And in the midway stage, or even at the earlier stages, they do regular inspections of the engine to make sure everything's working properly. So in terms of what the success criteria, obviously the fuel needs to perform as billed. Ideally get some efficiency measurements as well, because previously when we ran the ship on MSAR, we saw a 5% lower fuel consumption per unit energy, so that was beneficial, and we expect to see something similar with bioMSAR. And then with biofuels, because the fuel we're supplying has 40% bio components, we need to make sure that the NOx emissions are or the same, but we expect that they're going to be lower, much lower than conventional fuels as well. So emissions are another part of the success criteria. And then it's just the day-to-day operation. The fuel itself is designed to be akin to a drop-in fuel, easily switchable between conventional fuels and our fuel. And the crew on board need to be able to use the ship as they would do normally, without having to worry about the fuel and manage it, which we achieved last year in the last MSAR trial, but we need to do that again with bioMSAR. So that's the success criteria.
And then on the back of a successful trial, what does that then mean commercially for Quadrise in the marine sector?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I guess the idea is that midway through this particular trial, we'll have a good idea in terms of how this fuel's performing, and there's a discussion to be had, I guess, with MSC on the commercial demand for biofuels at that particular moment in time. So that's one opportunity. In parallel, with MSAR, conventional MSAR, we're also speaking with MSC again for conventional MSAR supply, which may not happen in Antwerp, it may happen in a Mediterranean refinery. So from a commercial perspective, obviously MSC is a very large client that get us up and running, but this offers also an opportunity in Antwerp to also bring in other shipping companies, potentially in other sectors who might be willing to try the fuel. So that the discussions are ongoing now with other clients and to make use of this Antwerp facility to start continuing the testing and the commercial sale of the products. And for us, it's a game changer. I mean, one of our MSAR modules can supply sort of 15 to 20 ships, container ships. So, each of those modules generates revenue for us as a pre-revenue company. That's extremely important. And with essentially 2 modules in place around the world, we're cash neutral. And that's really where we wanted to be. We've not made that leap yet, but it can happen quite relatively soon in the next 12 months, we believe.
And then just to kind of finish off, at your AGM last Friday, you mentioned about new engagements with marine channel partners, and then the following Monday released a collaboration agreement with All Marine of Finland. Could you kind of briefly update us on this kind of new strategy and then any other further developments we can expect in the future?
Yeah, I mean, Quadrise is a small company with a technology that needs to collaborate with other partners to make things happen. Obviously, in the case of MSC, they had a vessel already with a fuel system on board that had been previously installed with another OEM. So essentially, when you convert a ship to run on emulsion fuel, the recommendation from Class Society at the moment is to put another fuel system in. That's not something Quadrise can supply some of the components, but we're not doing that on a regular basis. And partnering up with a company like Aura Marine, who has 50 years of expertise in doing exactly that, in installing fuel systems, is really important for us to be prepared for the growth of the company. And we're not going to be in that space. It's not our expertise. So we need to work with other companies like Aura Marine to make that happen, who are also doing things on other fuels as well. And it's a really good fit in their portfolio. So it's a win-win. And it's, we have our own sales network pipeline, but they also do as well. So it helps us get the message out there a little bit more as well, and brings in the expertise of both companies. And there are other companies in other areas that are offering similar opportunities such as that. So this is not the beginning of the journey with Aura Marine, and hopefully one of many in terms of other channel partners.
Is there anything else in the future that kind of we can expect to come up?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned in the AGM, we just completed some testing on our current bioMSAR is equivalent to a B30, i.e. 30% biofuel, 70% hydrocarbon equivalent. We've been developing some further progressive products which essentially get us all the way to a full B100, 100% biofuel, which we call bioMSAR Zero. We've been testing that product in aquafuel and some intermediate products as well. So we're looking forward to publishing some of that information very soon. We have our 2024 sustainability report that will also go out around the same time, because we want to make sure that information's in there as well. And then we have some other projects which we'd like to update shareholders on in terms of developments as well. One is in Utah with Valcor. Obviously, we have our project with OCP in Morocco. And then a couple of other projects, one of which in Panama, the other in Southeast Asia. So both of those projects are progressing towards the agreement phase, and we'd like to try and get that closed out, and at least one of those anyway, the latter ones before the end of the year.
Amazing. Thank you for your time today, Edison. It's been great to hear about all the recent developments. For more information on Quadrise, please see the Edison website.